we will take the national as well as the footer anthem.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign fatherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hang on to our children a banner without stain. Oh God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build our nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Praise Lieutenant, praise Lieutenant, ever winning, ever living, ever peaceful, advancing the course of technology. Land of nation, landmark. For national progress, academic excellence is our tradition. Technology for self-reliance. Self-reliance, yes. Self-reliance, yes. Promoting of unity, not smartism. Championing the cause of technology. The shining example. The pride of Nigeria. With the blessings on our side, we shall go places. For self-reliance.
Shall we take our seat, distinguished ladies and gentlemen? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our Vice Chancellor, Professor Adeleke Temidayo Oladiji, Fellow, Academy of Science, I welcome us to the 169th in the inaugural lecture series of our university. Today's lecture with the title, Tackling the Scourge of Weeds, the Use and Challenge of Herbicides, Weedkillers, will be delivered by Rex Dada Aladesanwa, Professor of Chemical Weed Control and Plant Protection. Can we give it up for the inaugural lecture? In tandem with the tradition of our university, today's ceremony will be presided over by our Vice Chancellor, Professor Adeleke Oladiji. A round of applause for our Vice Chancellor. On that side of the divide, we also have the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic, Professor Taiwo Timothy Amos. A round of applause for him. The Chief Scribe, Registrar, and Secretary to the Council of our great university is also here, Mr. Charles Olusegun Adeleye. The Chancellor of the Exchequer, Abosa, Mr. Julius Adefola Adeshoba is with us. The University Librarian is being represented by Mr. Aki Olofishawe. We welcome you, sir. The deans of our various schools are also here. They are led by the Dean School of Health and Mineral Sciences, who is also the Chairman of the Committee of Deans, Professor Adeleye Biodro Adekowoshi. Welcome, sir. Professor Victor Okoliko Ukwenya, the Dean School of Basic Medical Sciences. You are welcome. The Dean School of Computing, who is also a member of Council, Professor Boniface Kayode. You are welcome, sir. The Dean School of Engineering and Engineering Technology, Professor Peter Kayode Oke. You are welcome, sir. Dean School of Environmental Technology, Professor Isaac Olaniyi Aje. You are welcome, sir. The Dean School of Logistics and Innovation Technology, Professor Olayemi Olade Simon Oke. You are welcome, sir. Dean School of Life Sciences, Professor Michael Olufemi Ashamo. You are welcome, sir. Dean School of Physical Sciences, Professor Femi Barnabas Adebola. Welcome, sir. We also welcome the Dean School of Postgraduate Studies, Professor Oluwayo Bello Olusoji. And of course, the Dean who commands the largest contingent of forces on our campus, Dean Student Affairs Division, Professor David Olanwaju Oke. You are welcome, sir. It is now my honor and singular privilege to invite to the podium our Vice Chancellor, the very first Vice Chancellor of our great university, and the chairman of this occasion to deliver address. Madam Vice Chancellor.
The Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Development, Registrar, the University Librarian, the Bossa, members of the Governing Council, my lords, spiritual and temporal, former principal officers of FUTA, top government functionaries here present, the inaugural lecturer of today, Professor Rex Dada Aladesanwa, deans, directors, and heads of departments, especially the Dean of the School of Agriculture and Agricultural Technology, distinguished members of Senate and congregation, eminent scholars and friends of the university, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you with great pleasure to the 169th inaugural lecture of the Federal University of Technology at Refuta. I warmly welcome our spiritual and traditional leaders, top government functionaries, captains of industries, friends of the university, and the entire staff and students of the university. I am delighted to welcome the immediate and extended family members, friends, and well-wishers of the inaugural lecturer, and I felicitate Professor Rex Dada Aladesanwa on this academic milestone. May I, at this juncture, request the inaugural lecturer to please rise while I present his citation. Thank you, sir. Rex Dada Aladesanwa was born on the 20th of September, 1955 in Owo, Ondo State. After his elementary education, he proceeded to Owo High School, Owo, where he obtained his West African School Certificate in 1972. He furthered his education at Voronezh Technological Institute in the defunct Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, the USSR, where he obtained preparatory language school certificate in 1976. Thereafter, he proceeded to Moscow Agricultural Academy in Moscow, also in USSR, where he bagged MSc Agriculture, specializing in agronomy and plant protection, and PhD also in agriculture, specializing in chemical weed control and plant protection and pests in 1981 and 1990, respectively. Professor Rex Dada Aladesanwa joined the services of the Federal University of Technology, Akure, as lecturer 2 in the then Department of Crop Production, now Department of Crop, Soil, and Pest Management in 1991, and rose through the ranks to the position of professor in the year 2008. Professor Aladesanwa has supervised 20 masters and 10 PhD students to completion. He has served as internal and external examiner at many undergraduate and postgraduate examinations. He has also participated in many local and international conferences. Professor Aladesanwa has authored and co-authored over 100 research journal articles in reputable peer-reviewed journals, local and international. He is a reviewer for academic and professional journals, including the Journal of Science, Engineering and Technology, the Journal of Agri-Science, Cambridge, American Journal of Agricultural Sciences, World Journal of Agricultural Research, and the Journal of Genetics and Molecular Biology Frontiers in Big Data. Professor Rex Dada Aladesanwa belongs to many professional bodies. He is a member with Science Society of Nigeria, member Entomological Society of Nigeria, and council member, Science Association of Nigeria. Professor Aladesanwa has served the university in many capacities, some of which are serving as sub-dean of the School of Agric and Agricultural Technology between the year 2000 and 2002. He was acting farm manager of the university teaching and research firm in the year 2002 to year 2004. He was editor-in-chief, Applied Tropical Agriculture, an international journal published by the School of Agric and Agricultural Technology between 2005 and 2010. He was chairman, University Senate Disciplinary Panel on Examination Misconduct between 2009 and 2013. He was chairman, School of Agric and Agricultural Technology of FUTA Curriculum Committee between the year 2013 and 2014. He was chairman also of the School's Publication Committee in the year 2013 to year 2014. Professor Rex Dada Aladesanwa is happily married, and the union is blessed with promising children. Weeds are any plants considered undesirable in a particular situation, growing where it conflicts with human preferences, needs, or goals. The lecture of today will explore the use, potentials, and limitations of herbicides in the management of weeds for optimum crop productivity. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to present the 169th inaugural lecture of this university titled Tackling the Scourge of Weeds, the use and challenges of herbicides. Please join me as we welcome Professor Rex Dada Aladesanwa for his presentation.
The Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Deputy Vice Chancellor Development, other principal officers of the university, deans and directors, heads of departments and units, members of administrative and technical staff, distinguished academic and professional colleagues, invited guests, and friends of the university, my Lord spiritual and temporal, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, great futurians. I would like to commence this lecture, by giving all honor, glory, and adoration to the Almighty God, who has made it possible for me, to stand before you today to deliver this inaugural lecture titled Tackling the Scourge of Weeds, the Use and Challenge of Herbicide, Weedkillers. It is the 169th in the series for the university, and the 4th in the pest management option of the Department of Crop, Soil, and Pest Management. I would like to express my profound appreciation to the Vice Chancellor for giving me this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to deliver this inaugural lecture. Although a professorial inaugural lecture is an event meant to showcase excellence in research undertaken by a newly appointed and promoted professor. My own lecture is coming up now 16 years after my promotion to professorship. And if not for the extension of retirement age for professors to 70 years, this would have been a valedictory lecture. Madam Vice Chancellor, today is a milestone in the journey we actually started in 1975, when I won an undergraduate scholarship to study industrial chemistry in the former Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, USSR, thanks to Chief Michael Adekunle Ajasin of blessed memory, the proprietor and principal of our high school, Owo, my alma mater, and the first executive governor of Ondo State, who sent for me and personally handed me the scholarship application form to fill when I was already setting aside monthly savings with my maternal grandfather, Chief David Ode of blessed memory, to pursue university education, owing to my poor financial background while working at the local authority secondary modern school, Owo, as a French language teacher. In the USSR, after completing the one-year compulsory Russian language program at the Language Preparatory Faculty of the Voronezh Technological Institute, Voronezh, USSR in 1976, I got deeply upset when I was informed that industrial chemistry as a course was available only at the technical college. But because of my strong desire to pursue university education, I decided to change my proposed course of study since I did not want to hand my degree from a technical college. In the USSR, the tertiary institutions were manifold, including the technical colleges, awarding the degree of Bachelor of Science 4-year program, and the university, polytechnic universities, polytechnics or specialized academies or institutes operating the Dutch system of education, leading directly to the award of higher degrees such as Master of Science, 6-year program, and subsequent PhD, 3-year program. Based on my request for a change of course coupled with my brilliant academic performance at the Language Preparatory Faculty, I was granted permission to change my course of study after scoring A's in all the subjects offered in the tertiary institution placement examinations. Accordingly, I was given a range of courses to choose from, including human medicine. But I instinctively chose agriculture and was then admitted into the prestigious Moscow Agricultural Academy, Moscow, USSR, named after Clement Arkadievich Timiryazev of blessed memory, where I demonstrated excellent performance, academic performance, by scoring A's in all the courses offered from 100 to 300 level, while not recording a single C grade throughout the duration of my study. Eventually, I graduated with a master's diploma in agriculture in 1981, specializing in agronomy and plant protection. Madam Vice Chancellor, in order to underpin the foregoing narrative, may I crave your indulgence for permission to showcase my qualification record, including my master's degree and PhD certificates, reflecting 2 areas of specialization. That is the qualification record, which is invalid, without the diploma. This is the second page. And this, the diploma is the master's certificate, and below it is the PhD certificate, reflecting, 2 areas of specialization. I returned to Nigeria. I did my youth service at Ahmadu Bello University, Samaru, Zaria, 1981 to 1982 in the Department of Plant Science, headed by Professor L.B. Olugbemi of blessed memory, where I taught and conducted practical 40 contact hours in PS/AMT 121 plant morphology and anatomy and taxonomy to BSc Agric Part 1 students in the Faculty of Agriculture, including students from the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine. In 1986, I received the highly competitive Bureau for External Aid Postgraduate Scholarship Award, also tenable in the USSR, under the auspices of the Federal Ministry of Education, Ikoyi, Lagos, to study plant pathology in my former alma mater, that is Moscow Agricultural Academy, now officially the Russian State Agrarian University. But because I did not find plant pathology particularly interesting and challenging, my request to study chemical weed control was accepted with the proviso that I should conduct a research project spanning 2 areas of specialization, namely chemical weed control and plant protection from pests and diseases, plant pathology option, which I successfully accomplished by executing my PhD research project in part on the influence of selected sulfonylurea herbicide, including chlorsulfuron mixtures and seed treatment with betaine universal on the incident of a net blotch of barley, which was published in the Journal of Agricultural Science, Cambridge, Aladesanwa, 2002. In 1990, I returned to Nigeria and later joined the service of the Federal University of Technology, Akure, in 1991 as lecturer 2 with a PhD in agriculture and in the then Department of Crop Production, now Department of Crop, Soil and Pest Management. Subsequently, I rose through the ranks to become a professor in 2008, Madam Vice Chancellor. My research, which has spanned more than 3 decades in weed science and plant protection, including vital subject areas not often investigated by weed scientists and plant pathologists, namely the effect of a non-targeted herbicide on disease and crop development. What is a weed? Various authors have defined the concept of weediness in a variety of ways. However, the most convenient definition of a weed is a plant growing where it is not wanted, Michel 1979. This implies that a plant species need not always be a weed. It becomes one when it occurs in some situation in which its presence is just undesirable, as shown on plate 1. Smith and Secoy, 1976, state that harmful effects of weeds were known to early historic man and cite the evidence of hoes and grubbing implements that have been found. They report that nearly all books from Triophyte stores to modern times have mentioned weeds and their detrimental effects. It is not hard to find an example of man battle with weeds. The thorns and thistles of Genesis, chapter 3, verses 17 and 18, the parables of the sower, Matthew chapter 13, verse 18 through 23, and the TS, Matthew 13, verse 25 through 30, are among the earliest mentions, Zimdal 2011. The impact of the presence of weeds on crop production is very considerable. Estimates suggest that weeds are responsible for an overall reduction of somewhat more than 10% in the yield of major world crops, accounting for a huge annual loss of food supplies. Weed deprive the crop of water, mineral nutrients, and light, and so prevent it from achieving full potential. That's 2011. While in developed countries, weed management is done through the use of herbicide and machinery. In poorly developed or developing countries, particularly at the small farm level, the farmer and his or her family spend more than 40% of their labor time in hand weeding operations. This situation limits the productivity of the farmer and the socio-economic development of their family. FAO undated. To minimize the direct impact of weeds on crops and achieve optimum yield requires the most efficient method of management. Some terminologies have been associated with weed removal efforts, and they include weed control, weed eradication, and weed management. Weed control. This refers to the performance of any practice that prevents further increase in weed population growth or that suppresses or reduces existing weed populations. Weed eradication. This is the complete removal of weeds and their propagules from a given habitat, while weed management is the practical manipulation of weed populations using any or all control methods in a sound ecological manner. Methods of weed control. The major components of weed management are preventive weed control, cultural weed control, biological weed control, and chemical weed control. Integrated weed management refers to weed management strategies rather than a control or a management system. Chemical weed control. Chemical weed control refers to the use of chemicals known as herbicides to kill or inhibit growth of undesirable vegetation, as shown on plate 2. The word herbicide is derived from the Latin words herba, meaning plant, and sidere, meaning to kill, Rao 2017. Chemical weed control in crops started with the use of inorganic copper salt, such as copper sulfate, for barley weed control in cereals in Europe in 1896. Several other inorganic salts, such as nitrate and borate, were tested during the period 1900 to 1930. Sulfuric acid was introduced in 1912 and was used for selective weed control in onions and cereals. The first organic herbicide, the nitro-orthochrysal, was introduced in 1932. A major advance in chemical weed control occurred with the discovery of 2,4-dichlorophenoxy acetic acid in 1944 by Zimmerman and Hitchcock. Herbicide. Herbicide can be referred to by 1, their common names; 2, the registered trade name that may differ according to different manufacturers; 3, their scientific name; 4, the structural formula based on advanced West-Western linear notation; a line formula system consisting of symbols that unambiguously describe the structural formulae of chemicals. Accordingly, the structure displayed, the common name of the structure displayed is called atrazine. The trade name is gasaprime. The scientific name is 2-chloro-4-ethylamino 6-isopropylamino 1,3,5-triazine. The common name is a more reliable name by which herbicides are known everywhere. Scientists make use of common names to communicate internationally on matters relating to the use and behavior of herbicide. The trade name is the name given to a formulated herbicide by the manufacturing company and may vary from one geographical region to another, as well as from one formulating company to another. For example, atrazine, formulated and marketed in the United States by Ciba-Geigy, is called Atres, while the formulation prepared by Ciba-Geigy in Europe is called gasaprime. Akobundu, 1987. Inorganic herbicide. Inorganic herbicide are those weed control chemicals which contain no carbon atom in their molecules. Most inorganic herbicides were used before the modern era of organic herbicides began with 2,4-D in the mid-1940s. Although various organic herbicides have replaced these inorganic herbicides for many uses, they are still used. Examples of inorganic herbicides that may still be in current use are sodium chlorate, herbicidal source of boron, namely sodium metaborate tetrahydrate, sodium metaborate hexahydrate, Klingman and Ashton, 1975. Organic herbicides. This is the most extensive group, including herbicide with a high physiological activities, aliphatics, acetoacetamide, amides, arylosiphenolpropionate, benzoics, benzothiodiazole, bipyridylium, carbamase, carboxylic acid, chlorinated aliphatic acid, cyclohexidiones, nitroanilines, diphenyl ethers, imidazolinone, nitrites, phenols, phenoxys, pyric acid, pyridazinone, pyridine, sulfonylureas, thiocarbamase, triazine, triazinone, triazole, triazolopyrimidines, urea and uracil, etc. Klingman and Nashi and Rao, 2017. Classification of herbicides. Herbicides have been classified into several groups based on A, time of application, B, point of application, C, mode of transportation, D, type of plant skill, E, chemical structure, F, composition of active ingredient, and G, physiological action. Akobundu, 1987. Herbicide formulations. Formulation is a process by which a pure chemical substance is blended with other ingredients and made available in the form that will improve handling, storage, application, efficacy, and safety. The herbicide formulation commonly used in the tropics include the following. 1, salt or water-soluble powders. 2, water-soluble concentrate. 3, emulsifiable concentrate. 4, wettable powders. 5, flowables or liquid flowables. 6, water dispersible granules or dry flowable. And 7, water dispersible powder, as shown on plate 3. Herbicide resistance. The selection of herbicide resistant weeds poses a challenge to conventional agricultural practice. Et al. 2014. Generally, resistance is defined as the ability of a plant species to withstand the phytotoxicity of a chemical. Herbicide resistance in the context of weeds is defined as a characteristic of weed species to withstand a herbicide dosage substantially higher than the wild type of the same plant can withstand. The intensive and continuous use of herbicide over the last 5 decades has resulted in the development and evolution of weeds resistant to the normally phytotoxic chemical, Rao 2017. The selection pressure for herbicide resistance is contributed by 3 factors. A, efficiency of the herbicide. B, frequency of the herbicide used. C, duration of herbicide effect, Rao 2017. Similarly, there are 3 conditions that must be met before a weed is herbicide resistant. A, it must normally be controlled by the herbicide. B, it must survive a usually leader rate. C, the change must be heritable. That is, seeds produced from resistant plant must also be resistant. All et al., 2014. Resistance can be quantified by comparing experimental values derived from resistant and susceptible biotypes. The rates that control 50% of wheat population, LD50, that cause a 50% reduction in plant biomass, or that reduce enzyme activity by 50% are compared. An example of a typical comparison of resistant and susceptible wheat biotypes is shown in figure 3. It also shows that resistance levels can vary. One biotype is highly resistant, one moderately resistant. As a rule, weeds SCB cross resistant by becoming resistant to some or all herbicides within the same group. Some weeds become resistant to herbicide from more than one group and are called multiple herbicide resistant. These multiple herbicide resistant weeds are the most difficult for farmers to control. Two other terms are frequently used when herbicide resistance is discussed: tolerance and susceptibility. Many plants are naturally tolerant of certain herbicides. Crop plants are tolerant of selected herbicide, and weeds are tolerant of some herbicide. For example, maize is tolerant of the herbicide atrazine, while most living vegetables are susceptible to atrazine at the recommended rate. My modest contribution to weed science and plant protection. Madam Vice Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as a professionally trained weed scientist and plant protectionist, my research activities, some of which have been published in international journals of repute, are tailored towards the following areas: evaluation of herbicide residue, 2, chemical weed control, 3, cultural weed control, and 4, integrated pest management. Evaluation of atrazine for soil residual activity on vegetable crops. Atrazine is by far the most widely used symmetrical triazine herbicide for selective weed control in maize in southwestern Nigeria, following which vegetable crops may be sown to catch remaining moisture under rain-fed multiple cropping. On account of its high soil activity, the time for which atrazine remains active in the soil is of particular importance, since this could have implications for the safety of succeeding crops. Accordingly, Aladesanwa and Owolafe 2001 investigated the effect of soil residual activity of atrazine at the recommended rate of 3 kilogram active ingredient on the growth and development of Celosia argentea under screenhouse conditions at intervals of 0, 3, 6, 9, and 12 weeks after treatment. Experimental findings indicated that atrazine significantly reduced total crop leaf area, fresh weight, and dry weight of C. argentea in all the herbicide treatment compared with the control. Similarly, it caused significant reductions in plant height during the first 6 weeks of plant growth relative to the control. Table 2. Plant height was found to be linearly and possibly correlated with time interval between atrazine application. RU is equal to 0.96. It was concluded that the maximum interval of 12 weeks after treatment examined in this study is insufficient for safe and effective cultivation of C. argentea. Consequently, it should not be sown after maize crop in which atrazine has been used for weed control in order to avoid crop injury and reduction. Madam Vice Chancellor, this study perhaps for the first time has clearly demonstrated that Celosia is quite sensitive to atrazine residue and may be suggested for use as an indicator species for the detection of atrazine residue in the soil. Madam Vice Chancellor, in 2008, I received an email from Frank Columbus, President and Editor-in-Chief of Nova Publishers USA, who claimed to have learned about my published research on weeds, inviting me to participate in their publishing program, for an edited collection, invitation only, being assembled or under his direction tentatively, entitled Weeds, Management, Economic Impacts on Biology. The plate cover is, the book cover is shown on plate 4. Consequently, I sent in 2 manuscripts which were accepted and published without revision. One of the manuscripts was titled Weed Control in Maize with atrazine and the soil residual activity on the growth and yield of amaranth in southwestern Nigeria at Aladesanwa and that year of 2008. Result of this study indicated that atrazine at 3 and 4 kilogram active ingredient per hectare provided effective weed control and significantly increased maize grain yield over the weed control at a similar level with the weed-free control, but proved completely ineffective at 1 and 2 kilogram active ingredient per hectare. Results further show that atrazine at all the rates tested did not exert any adverse residual effect on the subsequent growth and yield of amaranth in both years. Table 4. Consequently, it is concluded that amaranth can follow maize in rotation, without suffering a concomitant reduction, in crop growth and yield under rain-fed multiple cropping. Chemical weed control. Optimizing herbicide efficacy of glyphosate through ammonium sulfate as surfactant. Aladesanwa and Oladimedi, 2005, conducted a randomized complete blood-free trial over 2 years to evaluate the herbicide efficacy of glyphosate using AMS as a surfactant at varying concentration in an oil palm plantation of the Federal University of Technology, Akure, located in the rainforest vegetation zone of Nigeria. Percentage herbicidal efficacy on total as well as individual weed populations, including the phrase was determined using the Anderson-Tilton formula, Putnam 1981, based on non-uniform weed infestation in the plot before treatment application. Result of this study indicated that herbicidal efficacy on total weed density, weed fresh weight, as well as weed dry weight was found to increase in order of increasing concentration of AMS, table 5. Regressing percentage herbicidal efficacy against increasing concentration level of AMS indicated significant positive relationship with an average correlation coefficient of 0.95 in both years, table 6. Glyphosate applied singly or in combination with varying concentration of AMS proved highly effective in controlling most of the grasses and broadleaf weeds prevalent in the experimental plot. Table 7. This result confirmed the potential of AMS as an effective surfactant that can be exploited in glyphosate-based weed management schemes in the subhumid tropical environment. Cultural weed control. Effects of frequency of weeding on the growth and the long-fruited jute, Cocros olitorus in the rainforest area of western Nigeria. Aladesanwa, Adenuworo. 2005 conducted a 2-year field experiment in 2000 and 2001 to examine the frequency of weeding conducive to optimum growth and yield of jute in Nigeria. Results indicated that weeding as early as 2, 3, or 4 weeks after sowing was not as beneficial to the growth and yield of jute as 2 weeding conducted at 2 and 5 weeks after sowing, or 2 or 3 and 6 weeks after sowing. Weeding once every week throughout the duration of crop growth significantly enhanced all growth and yield parameters over most of the treatments. All growth and yield parameters were linearly and positively correlated with increasing frequency of weeding. In contrast, both final and cumulative weed weights at harvest were found to be negatively correlated with increasing frequency of weeding, with an average correlation coefficient of minus 0.73 in both years. Bearing in mind the economies of labor input and yield, 2 weeding operations at 2 and 5 weeks after sowing was the most promising of all the treatments. Integrated pest management. The influence of selected Sophonia urea herbicide, including chlorsulfuron mixtures and seed treatment on the incidence of net blotch of barley. Aladesanwa 2002 reported the result of a 2-year split plot field experiment conducted to investigate the influence of a selected Sophonia urea herbicide, including chlorsulfuron mixtures and pre-sowing seed treatment using Baiting Universal 19.5 wettable powder on the incidence of naturally occurring net blotch of barley. Results showed that all the herbicide examined provided effective and season-long weed control at a similar level, that no significant differences in weed density and weed dry weight were found among herbicide treatment. Significant increases in disease prevalence over the weed check were recorded in herbicide-treated plots throughout the evaluation period, but the disease severity remained unaffected. Table 16. Pre-sowing seed treatment with Baiting Universal provided significant control of net blotch of barley compared with the control throughout the evaluation period. No phytotoxicity was observed in any of the treatments. Summary and conclusion. Madam Vice Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in the course of this lecture, I've been able to provide some insight into the use and challenge of herbicide when tackling the scourge of weeds. I've demonstrated perhaps for the first time the adverse and soil residual effect activity of atrazine on the growth and development of some living vegetables and okra under screenhouse conditions. I've confirmed the role of ammonium sulfate as a suitable and effective surfactant in enhancing herbicidal efficacy of glyphosate. I've shown that pre-plant soil incorporated application of lime and early post-emergence application of atrazine for selective weed control can be used to improve weed control as well as increase growth parameters and grain yield of maize in a subhumid tropical environment. I've also been able to demonstrate the use of glyphosate-based paraquat mixtures could only be encouraged to improve control of glyphosate-resistant weed species in an oil palm plantation, where some weed species constitute the main weed population. Our study on the effects of frequency of weeding on the growth and yield of long-fruited jute has demonstrated that 2 weeding operations at 2 and 5 weeks after sowing was the most promising of all the treatment based on the economies of labor and input. Our research on the evaluation of sweet potato live mulch at different spacing for weed suppression and yield response of may confer the potential of sweet potato as a suitable crop for use as live mulch that can be effectively exploited for weed suppression and improve growth and yield responses of maize. Finally, Our research on the effects of pre-sowing seed treatment and weed control methods on the great yield of spring barley indicate that seed treatment coupled with weed management will prove most beneficial in reducing the incidence of naturally occurring barley net blotch. Overall, despite all the challenges concomitant with the use of herbicide for weed control in both arable and plantation crops, they still constitute the main defense against weed infestation. The advantages of chemical weed control over other weed control methods, as earlier highlighted, speak for themselves. Presumably, the use of herbicide in developing countries, including Nigeria, will continue to increase as agriculture becomes more intensive, despite the warranted criticisms of the careless handling of chemical pesticides, including herbicide. These chemicals continue to be essential in integrated pest management in order to mitigate pest-induced crop losses. In many instances, the application of chemical pesticides is the only means of effective control. Recommendations. Madam Vice Chancellor, in all probability, the use of herbicides in Nigeria will continue to increase as agriculture becomes more intensive due to the prohibitive cost of labor, prohibitive cost and unavailability of labor. Consequently, in order to reduce the unfavorable environmental consequences concomitant with the use of herbicides, some of the following recommendations are indeed compelling and imperative. 1, the enforcement of standards and regulations regarding public health pest control should be removed from the jurisdiction of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control and put under the regulatory authority of the National Environmental Standards and Regulation Enforcement Agency, NESTRIA, a parastatal of the Federal Ministry of Environment, which will ensure that pesticides, including herbicide and their quality, packaging and labeling, must, as a minimum requirement, comply with the standards laid down in the FAO Code of Conduct on the distribution and use of pesticides, since pesticides are neither food nor drugs. This will allow NAFDA to concentrate more on its core mandate of monitoring and regulating the use and quality of food substances and drugs in Nigeria. 2, herbicide trials for registration to be conducted using a previously established methodology or protocol in representative crops and weeds of concern by NESTRIA, or in conjunction with the relevant departments in the faculties of agriculture across Nigerian universities. Having adequate facilities and equipment for conducting such trials before new herbicides are registered and approved for use. 3, to mitigate the hazards concomitant with the marketing and storage of pesticides, only licensed dealers should be permitted to store and sell them. Pesticides must not be stored together with food. They must be stored only in lockable cupboards and should be sold only to adults. The packaging, labeling, comply with regulations, which when violated should lead to the dealer's license being withdrawn. 4, the repeated use of the same herbicide over a prolonged period should be avoided by farmers to prevent high weed infestation that are tolerant of the herbicide in order to preclude herbicide resistance in the longer term. 5, it is recommended that sensitive leafy vegetable crops should not be sown after maize crop in which atrazine has been used for selective weed control in order to avoid crop injury and yield reduction under rain-fed multiple cropping. 6, government should ensure that all banned chemicals listed in the 11th schedule of the policy guidelines for pest control of the Federal Ministry of Environment are removed from circulation, as some of them, such as Paraquat, Parathion, and methylparathion, are still commonly sold on the market by pesticide dealers across Nigeria. 7, it is recommended that when selecting the pesticide, an active ingredient, which is selective vis-a-vis the main pest should be used. The active ingredient of the pesticide must be changed to prevent the development of resistance where control measures needs to be repeated. Preference should be given to an active ingredient of lower toxicity and lowest possible persistence in soil and water over the one of higher toxicity, while the necessary pre-harvest interval must be observed to prevent the accumulation of toxic residue on food crops. 8, the National University Commission should develop a separate co-curriculum minimum academic standard for universities of technology, because the idea of having a unified CC for both conventional and technological universities is fundamentally flawed, as the act establishing them are based on different program philosophies. The course synopsis in the CC should be made more comprehensive, reflecting not only the listed topics to be covered, but also the practicals to be conducted, possibly with the list of equipment required for such practicals in courses having practical components. The list of equipment becomes handy when conducting a needs assessment. 9, FUTA should leverage on the School of Agriculture and Agricultural Technology to unlock its potential to become a financially self-sufficient institution by setting up a diversified group of small-scale on-campus enterprises that will serve a dual purpose of boosting the revenue base of the university, as well as constituting a veritable platform for the acquisition of practical and entrepreneurial skills by students. 10, finally, federal government should cut down on the cost of governance by evolving and actualizing an equitable, apolitical, and unified salary remuneration system based on objective evaluation of job description and qualification, and channel the money saved into job creation for our teeming unemployed youth, as well as into payment of living wages to Nigerian workers whose standard of living, quality of life, has been on steady decline owing to unprecedented galloping inflation engendered by subsidy removal, endemic corruption, and absence of functional price control mechanisms. Acknowledgement. Madam Vice Chancellor, first and foremost, I wish to express my heartfelt thanks to the Almighty God for His steadfastness, goodness, and mercy over me, and for making it possible before you to deliver this lecture. I remain eternally grateful to Chief Michael Adekunle Ajasin of blessed memory for being instrumental to the undergraduate scholarship award I received to study in the Soviet Union. I also thank my late great uncle, Inspector Gabriel Olanamu Aladesanwa, a father figure, who was always there for me whenever I needed help. I'm appreciative of the moral and financial support of my maternal grandfather, Chief David Ode, a cocoa magnate, whose brand new Volkswagen bus we were riding to the farm way back in 1962. I express my deep sense of gratitude to the Federal Ministry of Education and the Soviet Union for both the undergraduate and postgraduate Bureau for External Aid Scholarship Awards. I'm grateful to the Moscow Agricultural Academy for various supports, including monthly stipend received throughout the duration of my study. I appreciate my late parents, Pa Abdurrahman Adorumu Aladesanwa and Mrs. Margaret Oluwafunke Aladesanwa, who though were not lettered, ensured that I received both primary and secondary school education. I want to thank my uncles, Messrs. Adekolo Ode and Larewaju Ode, both of blessed memory, and Mr. Akinola Ode for their moral support. I acknowledge with thanks all my parallel cousins, some of whom are here. Time will not permit me, to mention their names. I would like to appreciate my direct siblings, Mrs. Florence Oguni, Mrs. Abimbola Williams, Mrs. Olabisi Olubode, Biola Kasali, Yetunde Oni, Taiwo Jackson, Aladesanwa, Kende Paul Aladesanwa, Idowu Olufemi Aladesanwa, and Mrs. Tope Olaniya for their prayers and moral support. I would like to express my gratitude to my brother-in-law, Mr. Olusola Kasali, for his moral and financial support. I equally thank my late parents-in-law, Mr. and Mrs. Sule Shoneye, for giving me their daughter to marry way back in 1994. I thank my brothers-in-law, Mrs. Taufik Aruna and Laja Shoneye, and my sister-in-law, Mrs. Ibitoye and Mrs. Gania, for their moral support. I also thank my brothers-in-law, Professor O.S. Chitu of the Federal University, Oyekiti, for his assistance and moral support. I will forever be grateful to all my teachers at St. James Primary School, Isakmeowo, and Owa School, my lecturers at the Moscow Agricultural Academy, Moscow. I gratefully acknowledge particularly my master's project supervisor, Dr. Akangeskaya, and my PhD supervisors, Dr. Skalikov and Professor G. Esguri. I appreciate all my past students, both at the undergraduate and postgraduate levels, for their diligence, cooperation, and willingness to acquire knowledge. I'm proud to announce that most of them are doing well in their respective places of work. Professor B.O. Ademilu is the immediate past dean of Faculty of Science, Ekiti State University. Professor O.F. Olotua is a lecturer at the Adekunle Ajasin University, Akumba. Professor Mrs. Okunlola, Professor J.E. Doko, Professor M.O. Oni, Dr. Solomon Adejoro, Dr. Famu Agun, are all lecturers in the department. Dr. O.P. Ayodele is a former lecturer at the Adekunle Ajasin University, Akoko. Messrs. T.A. Afolabi and Tude Adeagbo, UK, are doing very well in their business. Dr. A.A. Fadimu, who is the provost, Federal College of Agriculture, Akure, and Dr. G.A. Benson were my PhD project students. Dr. Innocent Okuku and Peter A. Ede, both of whom graduated with first class honors, were also my project students. Dr. Peter Ede is a principal scientist and entomologist at Rare Clearance Service, a member of the Arterial Group of companies, where he leads efforts at addressing pest management issues and developing entomological solutions and for all aspects of the business. He is the author of the 1,004-page book published by Elsevier entitled Field Crop Anthropopest of Economic Importance, a complimentary copy of which he donated to the University Library. During the tenure of Professor J.A. Fuakwe as Vice Chancellor, I'm proud of them all. My deep gratitude goes to late Professor Albert Ilimobade. In his tenure as Vice Chancellor, I was employed as Lecturer 2 in 1991. I acknowledge with profound gratitude to all the Vice Chancellor, both past and present, who have contributed to my academic development and achievement. I forever be grateful to Professor A.M. Balogun and J.A. Fuakwe, under whose tenure as Deans of the School of Agriculture and Agriculture, I served as sub-dean from 2000 to 2002. I thank Professor P.O. Adeni for appointing me as acting farm manager of the University Teaching and Research Farm. I also thank late Professor A.G. Damola for the money given to the department in preparation for the NUC accreditation when I was head of department during his tenure as Vice Chancellor. I express my deep sense of gratitude to Professor S.R. Ogunduile for approving my sabbatical leave at Olusegun Agagu University of Science and Technology during his tenure as Vice Chancellor. I also thank him for being instrumental to my appointment as acting Dean, Faculty of Agriculture, Food and Natural Resources during the 2018-2019 academic session. Similarly, I express my deep appreciation to Professor E. Atta for facilitating my sabbatical leave at the Kogi State University, Anyigba, Kogi, during the 2008-2009 academic session. I appreciate the cordial relationship with President and past Deans of SAT and all members of SAT, both academic and non-academic. I'm particularly grateful to Professor J. Alok, who was the Dean when I was appointed HOD of Crop, Soil and Pest Management. I appreciate with profound gratitude my elderly professors, G.O. Iremire, A.B.O. Bilano, T.A.M. Awoni, L. Lajide, P.B. Imodu, and V.A. Aleto, both of blessed memory, for their encouragement and moral support. I thank Professor L.C. Nwana and T.A.M. Awoni for their financial assistance during the protracted ASU strike. Worthy of special mention are all my colleagues in the Department of Crop, Soil and Pest Management. I thank you all. I appreciate my friends, all my friends, both within and outside the university. Professor E.I. Bello, T.I. Mohammed, A.A. Akindansi, C.O. Adedire, A.F. Ibasan, Deji Fashui, A.F. Ayesomi, A.A. Otogun, I.A. Adeleye, Mr. Emmanuel Udo, Eda Kende, Mr. and Mrs. Dari, Dr. Razak Akimbo, Oluwaturamu, Messrs. Femi Oyeti, Taiwo and Wanyaka, Ademola Detula, Festus Okundalaye, Todun Egbeyemi, Oyeni Gbokun, Alhaji Ali Ahmed, Johnson Oladimeji, Jide Adedayo of blessed memory, Dr. Yandaiti Pari, and all bursary and registry staff, particularly late Mrs. Obajuluwa, Messrs. Adeshoba Rifalo, K. Oladeji, Alake Didi Johnson, the registrar, Mr. C.O. Adelayo, for their moral support. All members of staff of the University Health Center, particularly the doctors Adeni Kinju, Famuyiwa, Onyema, Iyilade, and Bolade, are appreciated for their understanding, compassion, and care. I also appreciate all staff members of the University Teaching and Research Farm for their cooperation, understanding, and moral support. I acknowledge gratefully the spiritual support of all the priests and members of the Methodist Church, Nigeria, Gogi branch, Akure. I wish to express my deep sense of appreciation to the entire management of FUDA Academic Staff Cooperative Society for their transparency, dedication, and accountability. All my classmates at our high school, particularly Mr. Tunde Abairi and members of the Owo Self-FUTA Staff Association, Crystal Club of Nigeria, Ado Ekiti, and Landlords Association of Okeodu, Ijare Road, particularly Chief Oladimeji, I hereby acknowledge, gratefully acknowledge for their moral and financial support. I especially appreciate my wife, Mrs. Oladuni Latifat, for Aladesanwa, for her prayers, love, and care. I also appreciate the support and understanding of my three lovely children, Dr. Francisca Oluwatosi, George Ayokunle, and Jennifer Olufunke. I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your for listening and rapt at us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May we please have another round of applause for our inaugural lecturer. May we please be seated. Thank you very much, Professor Rex Dada Aladesanwa, for this well-delivered lecture. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is customary for us to recognize and thank some members who have graced the occasion. We thank you all for coming. But today we specifically recognize in our midst Professor Adebisi Balogun, a former Vice Chancellor of this our great noble university. Professor Adebisi Balogun. Thank you very much, sir. A golden fish has no hiding place. Thank you for coming, sir. We recognize also today here in our midst our own dear Professor Sunday Oguduyile, the former VC, also Tech. Thank you, sir, for coming and for your contribution to the life of our inaugural lecturer, Professor Aladesanwa. We have also Professor Tom Ofuya, our own, is a former VC, West Spring University. Thank you, sir, for coming. Today, also gracing this occasion is our own Emeritus Professor Samuel Falaki. Thank you, Baba, for joining us. We have also in our midst today Professor Tunde Arayela, the former DVC academic footer. He is always coming. Thank you, sir, for always joining us. We also have a former acting university librarian, Dr. Mrs. A.O. Abiolu. Thank you, ma. We recognize you and thank you for coming. We have some of our past and present employers here. We have in our midst Professor Kolade Koriko, is a former council member in Futa, majestically seated in his owner's corner. Thank you, Prof, for coming. We have today also Professor Jonathan Onyekwelu. He's a former council member also in Futa. Thank you, Prof. And Prof is here with his wife. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I didn't see. I didn't look well. I'm seeing well. I didn't see. I didn't look well. We have today in our midst an elder statesman, part of the persons we refer to as our living legend. We have with us Reverend Professor Lassa Inde, is a former chaplain of Futa. Thank you, sir. We have Professor Gerard Iremire, is the pioneer dean of the School of Postgraduate Studies, Futa. Thank you very much, sir. Long time no see. Thank you for coming today. We recognize and thank all the guests of the inaugural lecturer from Owo, particularly his classmates at the Owo High School. If you are from Owo, please, can we wave so that we'll see you? Owo community, thank you very much for joining our inaugural lecturer. We also have today in our midst Mrs. Zainab Falaye, is a former acting university librarian in Futa. Thank you, ma. We also have the former acting pro-chancellor of the Hamadu Bello University, Zaria. Is one of us, Professor Ishak Amao. Thank you, Professor Isiaka. His own is Isiaka Amao. Thank you for joining us, sir. Today in our midst, we have High Chief Adetokunbo Aladesanwa, a family member. High Chief, sir. Thank you very much for coming. we have the friends and family members from Ado Ekiti and from Owo. We thank you all for finding time to be here. Today in our midst, we have Mama Deborah Aladesanwa, the mother of the inaugural lecturer. Mama, you can hear the sound of the round of applause. Ẹ kú oríire. Thank you for raising this giant for us in Futa. We also have Johnson Aladesanwa, a brother of the inaugural lecturer. Great. Thank you very much, sir. We have Abayomi Sholeye, in-law of the inaugural lecturer. Thank you very much. We also have Babatunde Sholeye, also an in-law of the inaugural lecturer. We have in our midst today a special woman that the inaugural lecturer simply described as his wife, but he's happy to thank her for her prayers, for her love, and for her care. We have with us Mrs. Oladunni Latifat Aladesanwa, the wife of the inaugural lecturer. Thank you, ma, for all the prayers. We can see the effect and the impact of your prayers and your love. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I recognize and thank the most important group of people here present today. Great Futarians. You are the most important and you are the best. Thank you for coming.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I respectfully crave our indulgence to rise for the Futa as well as the national anthem of our great country.
Ever winning, ever living, ever peaceful, advancing of technology. Land of nation, land man. For national progress, academic excellence is a tradition. Technology for self-reliance. Self-reliance, yes. Self-reliance, yes. Promoting of unity, no strategy. Championing the cause of technology. The shining example. The pride of Nigeria. With the blessings on the side, we shall go places. Self-reliance.
shall remain standing while the procession of the Vice Chancellor makes its way out of the auditorium. We will remain standing. Once again, thank you for visiting the best university of technology in Nigeria. Safe journey to your various destinations.